Welcome back, HangGlider friends. It's time to take out your green HangGlider Handbook. Today we're starting Green Jewel 2 Missionary Activities together, and we're going to work on Green Jewel 2.1 and 2.2 together. Are you ready to get started? What is a missionary? Hey, Jacob, come look at this, shouted Joel. Joel looked down at something in his hand. What is it? Asked Jacob as he moved closer to see. It's a picture of my dad with his plane, said Joel proudly. Joel held up the picture. Cool! What kind of plane is that? Asked Jacob. It's a P-208 Turbo, said Joel. My dad says turbo planes fly higher and faster than any other planes. Wow! What does your dad do? Asked Jacob. He's a missionary pilot, said Joel. A what? Said Jacob. He looked confused. A missionary pilot. A missionary pilot is someone who flies a plane and helps people hear about Jesus. When I grow up, I want to be a missionary pilot too, said Joel. God wants all Christians to tell people about Jesus, but God wants some Christians to make telling people about Jesus their job. A missionary is someone who has a job telling people about Jesus. Not all missionaries are pilots. Missionaries tell people about Jesus in many different ways.
I just don't get it. How does your dad help people hear about Jesus by flying a plane?
Well, when we were in Ecuador, we carried a big bag of Bibles to a church in the jungle. People want to read about Jesus, but it's hard for them to get Bibles out in the jungle. One day, we picked up a lady who had a spider bite. She needed to see a doctor right away, so we flew her to a hospital. When she was at the hospital, my dad got to talk to her about Jesus. The next day, we brought some milking goats to a village so the children could drink milk every day. Boy, those goats were sure loud on that plane ride. When we got there, we told all the little children that Jesus loved them. But the best part was when we picked up kids from different villages and brought them to Bible camp. They were all so excited to ride in our plane.
Oh, now I understand what a missionary does. Maybe I'll be a missionary someday too.
Missionaries tell people about Jesus in many ways. Some missionaries fly planes. Others give sick people medicine. Some teach people about the Bible. Others help poor people to have food and clothes. Some help to build new churches. Others lead clubs for children, like Sparks.
Okay, so now that you know a little bit about what a missionary does, let's talk about our Awana missionaries. Your handbook, and I did skip a page, we'll go back. Your handbook says to find a missionary, and you can pick any missionary you want. I've picked our Awana missionaries, and paste their picture in your handbook. So I have pasted a picture of Mark and Pat DeCoy, and they are the missionaries that help me teach Awana for you. So our missionaries Mark and Pat live in New York. Okay, you can pick any missionary you want to put into your book, or you could put Mark and Pat DeCoy. There is a picture of them if you go way back to the beginning of our Awana web pages. There's a link where you can find a picture of them if that's the picture you want to use. All right, so now we're going to go back to that page that I skipped. Okay, and all that says is to finish this section, find the name of a missionary, paste the picture of the missionary, and write the name of the missionary on the following pages. So we've already done that, right? Good job. Have your grown-up helper sign your handbook when you're all done with that. Okay, and that's the end of Green Jewel 2.1. Let's do the next section.
So where does your dad fly in his plane?
My dad flies all over the world. He's been to countries in Africa like Congo and Uganda. He's also been to Haiti, Ecuador, and Indonesia.
Whoa! I've never even heard of some of those places. Have you ever been on a trip with him?
Yeah, it was so much fun. Last year, I went with him to the Amazon jungle in Ecuador. I saw monkeys and manatees and jaguars and toucans. And I almost got stung by a scorpion.
Whoa!
Hey, Jacob, come look at this.
What is it?
It's a picture of my dad with his plane.
Cool. What kind of plane is that?
It's a P-208 Turbo. My dad says turbo planes fly higher and faster than any other planes.
Wow! What does your dad do?
He's a missionary pilot.
A what?
A missionary pilot. A missionary pilot is someone who flies a plane and helps people hear about Jesus. When I grow up, I want to be a missionary pilot too.
God wants all Christians to tell people about Jesus, but God wants some Christians to make telling people about Jesus their job. A missionary is someone who has a job telling people about Jesus. All missionaries are not pilots. Missionaries tell people about Jesus in many different ways. God wants people to hear about Jesus everywhere. Missionaries work in places all around the world. Some missionaries serve God in places close to their home. Other missionaries travel many miles to serve God in other countries.
To finish this section, write the name of the country where your missionary lives on page 56. So if this were my handbook, I would write the United States because New York is in the United States. Ask an adult to help you find the country, or at least the continent of the country, on the map on pages 56 and 57. Show your Sparks leader, your grown-up helper, where the country is on the map. And you are all done with Green Jewel 2.2. I'll see you next week. Don't forget to complete your weekly check-in so that I know that you finished it all right.